to order the February 18th, 2021 Budget Committee meeting. I ask you all to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
Pledge
to the
allegiance
flag of
to
the
the
United
flag
States,
United States, to the republic for which it stands,
one nation under God,
under God,
visible, liberty, and
and justice for all.
Joe Schramm, if I can ask you to call the roll, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thor Ackrey,
Present.
Sherry Ackrey,
Present.
Dan Darren,
Aye.
John Edwards. I think he's here.
He is here. I saw him.
Tom Healy, Cynthia Isherwood,
Present.
Mike Janik,
Present.
Judy Jones,
Here.
Dave Perry,
Present.
Joe Souza,
And I'm present.
and Joe Schramm. I am present.
All right.
John Edwards is here. I just got disconnected for some reason.
Item 4, everybody should have received the minutes from 2/11/21.
I'll make the motion to accept the minutes from 2/11/21.
I'll second that.
Second.
We have unanimous consent.
Yep.
Is there any more discussion? Motion carries. Joe Schramm, I'll ask you to read number 5, please.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Agenda item number 5, discussion vote to request an official legal opinion from the town solicitor concerning the authority of the treasurer to transfer funds to or from a restricted account through any means other than as directed by the financial town referendum resolution or indicated by a budget line item within the powers provided by the town charter. And if an opinion is provided as to other authority from which the treasurer can act in this manner, then to provide the reference source which supports that authority.
Okay. We had discussion previously on this. We asked for a legal opinion. I think the issue is pretty clear, so I'll call for a vote unless there's discussion.
Yeah, quite. Is that Joe speaking?
Yes.
Um,
Oh, you can't see me?
no,
Okay, I'm sorry. Hang on.
no, that's okay.
Oh,
So,
well, okay, there it is.
I apologize. I'm easily confused. The issue is not clear to me. But what is the intent of? I guess Joe, you're the sort of prime mover on this, if you will. Could I ask what your motivation is here directly, please?
Well, we're going to be voting on capital soon. I'd like to know that the funds that are in the general fund are available for capital. The council seems to believe that they can restrict funds without a resolution. And I believe that they can't, based on what I've read in the 32 pages of the charter. So we asked, as we are allowed to, ask the solicitor for a legal opinion. As I said, there's a lot of capital that needs to be funded. There's already money in the account from the casino that I think should go towards capital. So that's why I asked the opinion.
Okay, so if I recall correctly, the town council has voted not to restrict that funding. Is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. I'd like to speak on this a little bit later on, but I'd like to hear what everyone else thinks. And so far, I haven't heard a second. So,
Sherry, you're muted.
Did you make the motion, Joe? To actually, because you read it, but were you making the motion or did you want somebody else to make the motion?
I prefer somebody else make the
Okay,
motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we ask the solicitor for a legal opinion concerning the authority of the creation of a restricted account and abide by the financial town referendum exactly like it's written there.
Second discussion.
Yes, well, Mike had his hand
So,
up.
Yeah.
sorry, I'll yield to Mike.
Thank you. I'm assuming this has to do with the ordinance from the town council regarding the casino gaming revenue and that restriction.
Correct.
And the question is whether or not that money is available.
Well,
Is that
the question,
motion
well,
determined?
the idea basically is we're being told that money is not available to be spent in this FTR for capital. So we asked for a legal opinion. We didn't get a legal opinion when the solicitor was here last time. He merely said that a previous solicitor had made an opinion. That solicitor is no longer here. He resigned. I'm requesting that this solicitor review the 32 pages and show us in writing in the charter what section of the charter authorizes the council to restrict funds. They have to instruct the treasurer to move those funds out of the general fund into that restricted fund. It's all the general fund, but it was the portion of the general fund. So they created a restricted account. If that's restricted, then it's not available to the taxpayers to use for capital this year. And again, we have a lot of capital needs, not only at the high school, but on our own side here in the town side. So the idea is for him to explain to us how they can do that. Because from what I read in the charter, they can't. And I kind of explained that some of in the email when I sent it out.
What I see in the ordinance is that it states that casino gaming fund money will go into a restricted municipal capital projects account. Does that not suggest we'd have that available for capital?
But no, they're saying that the money is restricted and the council will make those decisions. But they didn't do a resolution to restrict the funds. If you look through every section in this charter, whenever money is being appropriated, it always talks about the FTR and a resolution. All right, every section says that. And then it says all revenue goes to the general fund. If you look under the powers and duties of the council, it says right at the end of theirs, they have all the powers except for where it's different in the charter. So they don't have the power, in my opinion, to restrict those funds. And that's why we asked for the legal opinion. And I'm not just going to accept the solicitor's opinion and say, well, he's right because he's the solicitor. I mean, you know, we all know we need to have a little bit of research done and show it to us.
Joe?
Yes.
I
think John was up next. John Edwards.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So I seconded this because honestly, there's no harm in asking. And, I think it's worthwhile for the solicitor to weigh in on this. My concern and what I hope from this committee is that we will accept what the solicitor returns with, whether that is that the council has the power to do this or that they don't. I've seen a lot over the years with, these arguments being made about, people usurping power and all this other nonsense. And I really hope that we as a committee will take what the solicitor, who is our solicitor as well, says, and go from there rather than, turn this into a long protracted legal battle, which quite frankly, we all know the town can't afford.
Well, I'll just say it's my opinion that once the solicitor sits down and reads through the 32 pages of the charter, that he's going to pretty much determine that they need to put a resolution in. And I think the people deserve that. I mean, I'm going to go all the way back to the original charter, and people like Diane Harris, who, I think they saw that we needed to make changes then, and they created our what we have now, where we have a town administrator, and made sure that the financial town meeting stayed there and that the results stay there, that the people vote on the dollars in this town. It's always been that way. So I don't know why all of a sudden it's changing that a council can reserve. And it doesn't say anywhere in the charter that I can find that they can do that. So I think it's going to come back that they can't do it.
Joe, if no one else is on deck.
No, you're all set, Dan. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You had Dave and you have Chris with their hands up.
I'm sorry.
I'll defer to Chris.
Well, actually, you know what? For some reason, I can't see anybody but a few people. Maybe I'm not on the right.
In your upper right-hand corner, go to view. You need gallery view, I believe.
All right. Yeah, I don't see it, but panelists 34. No, I don't know. I'm just
Well,
going
if
to
you
say,
can't see us, can you see if we raise our hand with the icon? I'm going to raise my hand with it.
I see Dave now. All I'll say is just speak up anyway, because if you remember in the beginning that the solicitor actually asked us to use our name before we speak.
You're right.
So if you just say your name and I'd like to be heard, please. Go ahead, Dave, please. You're muted.
Oops. Chris was first, Mr. Carter.
So I just, I don't understand where this is going, but the town council has authorities beyond what the home rule municipal charter has. There are state laws that govern the authorities of what the town council has purview under. And one of those is the scope and creation of ordinances. And they utilize the ordinances to do what they need to do as it relates to regulations and bylaws for the well-being and managing and directing the prudent affairs of their respective towns, not repugnant to the Constitution, laws of the state. And that's what they did. They created an ordinance. So they can generate local law. And they're elected to do that. So I'm not sure you go into, and I think, I'm assuming that the solicitor is going to opine that Rhode Island General Law 45-6-1 is their ability to do exactly what they did do.
Well, we have a home rule charter.
Well, there was also
Our council's powers are derived from the charter, not state law.
Joe, it's not
And they
just
can't. I didn't say they couldn't create an ordinance. They can create an ordinance, but to fund that ordinance, they need a resolution. Rather.
No, they don't. That's
Well,
your opinion.
according to our charter, they do.
No, you're wrong, Joe. But that's, you get your opinion, but I'm sure he's going to rely on the fact that there was a solicitor available when we went through this and created the ordinance.
If you remember, in 2018, they tried to change the charter
And
to
it
do
failed.
exactly what they're doing. No, it didn't pass.
Just said that, Joe. It failed.
So why in 2018 did the solicitor tell us we have to do it by putting in a resolution, and now all of a sudden we don't need a resolution? So there's no consistency there. The solicitor then said this is the proper way to do it. Change the charter.
I disagree with you. That's
Well, that was I remember, and that was the opinion then.
Dan Daring, may I be recognized if
Please.
Chris is finished?
Unless somebody was in front of you, I'm sorry.
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 I'm up next.
Yep,
Dave, please.
Okay. The two restricted funds that I were being voted on, leave a paving account and landfill account. Those two are restricted accounts. Paving and fill.
You're breaking up, Dave. I'm sorry. I couldn't understand.
Shit. Okay. The two accounts that are restricted that I remember were the paving account and the land account were voted on at the FTR. Is that correct?
municipal capital account.
The
Yeah.
municipal capital account. Okay.
You know, all the
Those are the three-
restricted funds, like for
Those are the
election,
three that are right.
landfill. You forget, we vote for restrict funds for the landfill, the
Right.
election account, the industrial park, infrastructure fund.
Structure fund.
All that goes through resolutions
Right.
to restrict those funds. But all of a sudden, and if you remember, the casino money was going into the general fund.
It
So
still
it's not
does.
like it's a new fund.
It still does go into the general fund.
Yeah, but it's being restricted supposedly.
It is. It's not supposedly, it is being restricted.
Well, well, I'm thinking that it's not. That's why I'm asking for the opinion to show me what section of the charter authorizes them to do it. If you're saying state law, I disagree because we're a home rule charter town.
Joe, you still have to follow state law.
Yeah, but state law doesn't give them
State law does not.
that
does not-
ability.
does not
They may
restrict
have
the
ability
local
to make, well, I don't believe state law gives him that ability either. So maybe he'll have to bring in that state law so we can read that too, because it doesn't, I don't think so. I just don't agree with that. That's why we went through all through this home rule charter. Well, is there anybody else who wants to be heard? Because I want to call for a vote.
Dan does. Please.
Go ahead.
Could I ask Joe respectfully, are you putting this forward as a private citizen or as the chairman of the budget committee?
I initially asked him as a private citizen for over a week, and I was stonewalled. So I'm doing it now as a committee member and asking the committee to support this.
Okay, my comment would be, we have an elected town council. They've made a decision, and I don't believe it's necessary, appropriate, or any other use of words for the budget committee to be spending its time and resources on litigating this issue. I'm absolutely opposed to it. I think we need this town needs to start reading from the same page in the same Bible. And I think if I might, please, I let you speak. And I think it's long since past time that we stop these internecine intramural battles. The decision's been made. People may disagree with that, but I don't see, neither you nor I are an attorney. That isn't to say that we can't read laws and seek clarification, but I think this is a poor use of our resources, a poor use of our time. I understand you're very committed to it, but I'm going to be absolutely opposed. And speaking just for myself, I think there are other issues we have to deal with, and we don't need to be tilting at windmills that don't seem to necessarily be there. And I say that with all due respect, and I'll leave it at that.
Well, we're an elected body too. All right.
I have a
We
question.
have our provisions in the charter and our what we're supposed to be doing, and this is part of it. Sure,
I
sure.
patiently had my hand up for the last
sorry,
10
Sharon.
minutes. Maybe not patiently. So I'm gonna ask for this to be moved to a vote, but first just say, I don't think that it should be an issue to ask our solicitor his opinion. I think there's a lot of confusion about what you are asking, Joe. And I think that a lot of people don't understand exactly that you're not trying to debate whether or not the town council can create an ordinance or had the right to create the ordinance. And you're not even arguing putting money in control of the town council. You are just asking for a legal opinion based on what some of us think, that there could be an issue. Jay Edwards from the town council actually last year, also our budget committee had attempted to create a resolution at the same time the casino ordinance was being drawn up, but decided based on discussion not to put that resolution forward. So I am with John Edwards. I don't think it can hurt. And I think it's probably legally pertinent to just make sure we're doing the correct thing, but that we should accept what, when the solicitor gives us his legal opinion, we should accept it.
Well,
Call
I'll
for
ask for a vote. I don't think we need to call. I will ask for a vote if there's no other conversation. I'll ask Joe Schramm to call the roll.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Thor Ackley,
I vote yes for the request as written in the agenda, item number 5.
Sherry Ackley,
Yes.
Dan Darren,
No.
John Edwards,
Yeah, why not? Yes.
Tom Healy,
Yes.
Cynthia Isherwood,
Yes.
Mike Janet. Mike, you're muted.
Yes, get the opinion.
Judy Jones,
Yes.
Dave Perry,
Yes.
Joe Souza,
I'm a yes.
Joe Schramm. I am a yes. We have 10 yeses, 1 no.
Congratulations, Joe. Dan Darren speaking.
Dan, I promise I'll try to be convinced if it goes against me.
It doesn't matter. I just
No
want
problem.
to congratulate you.
All right,
I'm trying to be respectful.
let's move on. Thank you. Okay, item number 6. Discussion, vote on account 1140, land use, which would formerly be building and planning, page 5. So we should be working off the 2/17/21 copy that Chris provided us.
Oh, come on.
I see you, Dave.
Yeah, I know. I can't see you. I'll make a motion to move. Oh, can't hear me.
We can hear you, Dave.
Well, you can. Good. You hear me swearing?
Yes.
Yes. This is a
I'll make
public
a
meeting.
motion
Let's
to
tone it
move
down.
$311,100 land use.
Second.
Motion and
Second by
second.
John Edwards.
Do we have unanimous consent?
I make a motion for unanimous consent.
Second.
Any further discussion? No complaints, motion passes. Okay. Discussion to vote on account 6110, Senior Center, page 14.
Janet is supposed to be here. I don't know if Chris can see her. Janet was gonna come
I
to.
see it just came in.
Hello.
Hello, Janet. Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Good to be here.
If you want to go ahead and
Chair.
get started, you have the floor. Yes, somebody say something? John?
Yeah, I did. I'm ready to make a motion. I mean, it's essentially flatlined.
All right. Well, Janet, are you okay with that?
Yes, I am. The only major thing I want to do is finish finaling the building, which I did give Sherry an updated estimate on that, which only went up about 4%.
We
that's
did
my
receive that.
dream.
It's still pretty damn cheap, actually, to finish it off.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be beautiful too.
Well, yeah, we're not going to be discussing capital until we heard your capital, but we're not really going to be voting on capital until the end.
Okay, I just figured I'd give a plug now since you're talking money.
Yep.
But as far as everything else, I mean, obviously it's been a strange year, so I'm hoping as we get closer to spring into summer, we get to start our activities again, and we'll be spending some more money. But I think you can kind of understand the budget and everything. You guys have done this many times, so I appreciate what you can do for us. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
Mr. Chair. Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to approve $123,550 for account 6110 Senior Citizen Services.
I'll second that.
Motion and second. Do we have unanimous consent?
So moved.
I've got, Joe,
Yes,
I've got a different number, John, on the docket that was distributed on the 17th. I've got 124,717.
No,
senior citizen services.
123,550.
Yep, that's what I
That's
said.
what I have.
123,550.
That's the number from, okay, let me make sure I got the right. If that's what everybody else has, I may be looking off the reading off the wrong play sheet.
Yeah, 6110.
No, I don't have that number either. I have the number that you just mentioned, 7171.
Make sure that, Chris, you're muted, that we have the right number.
Sorry, I meant to tell you, there's a date above the area where it says department head request 2122.
Right.
Yep.
It should say 2/17/21.
It was sent yesterday, so
Oh,
So I don't know what docket you're working on, so
Well, I
Yeah,
opened,
that's the one I think most of us have is the 2/17/21. You just sent it out yesterday.
yep. So if the number's different, it's related to the director's salary because there has not been an evaluation and an increase yet for this year, so.
That was one question, Chris, that I had was, I know those director salary amounts in a lot of those accounts were being put in the town council
Yeah.
contingency fund, the salaries.
But eventually those numbers need to get to you.
Huh?
Eventually those numbers need to get to you.
Yeah, well, yes, but my question is actually, if you at some point can let me know, that actually, it's not separated, it just goes into the town council contingency fund, so the salary.
And until the contract is resolved and ratified, then it will come out and be in those particular line item. Right
Okay.
now, if I just put numbers there to percentage increases, the
Yeah,
council
no.
may not approve them, so that's
Right.
not there.
Yeah, I know I heard that you said that you still had to do evaluations and.
Yep.
Yeah, they're based on review, so.
Joe, I have a question for Janet. She's
Okay.
still on? Oh, she left.
Yeah, no, I'm here. I'm
Oh,
here.
you're still on. Okay,
I'm here.
thank you.
Fine.
Education seminars. I see you took the $500 out. And
Well, I didn't do that. You guys took it out. I actually put it in last year, but when COVID came along, it didn't get passed. It was never there.
oh,
It was
no.
in my original contract, but it was never in the budget. So I had asked to put it in, but because of,
it is
circumstances.
in last year's. It's in last year's.
Oh, well, I guess my
You haven't-
point is,
You haven't spent any of it.
I couldn't
That's
have
what
spent it with COVID anyways. So,
Okay,
I mean, I would
okay.
love to be able to take advantage of, but there wasn't, when I started, there was no education part. They did put it in, but I was never able to use it because of circumstances.
Okay.
So, I mean, I would love to see it remain if possible. So I can take advantage of it, a conference or education or something in that line.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks,
you.
Janet.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do, guys.
I'd like to make a motion for unanimous consent.
second.
discussion? Do we want to add that 500 back
Well,
for the education?
yeah, maybe not 400, but I mean, COVID's still around. It's probably going to be around
So,
next
the way
year
I
also.
understood it was that she still has the 500 from that, because it wasn't spent. So she still has 500 there that
That's
she wasn't able to
till the end
spend.
of this fiscal year.
That's until what? July?
Yeah,
Well, unless she books some conferences or something like that, and it's, the money's spent prior to that.
And a tough right, COVID.
Yeah. I think she'll leave it alone for now. We're going to be revisiting it. If
And we might be able to put 300 back
right
or
now,
something
so
like that.
let's leave it alone and move forward.
Be helpful, Janet?
Well, there's not much available to conferences or anything at the moment. So maybe I mean, I don't see a whole lot happening right now. So it's probably a moot point at this point, as much as I,
Okay, thank you.
next year would be nice, but that's what. Thank you for thinking of me, though. I appreciate it. I do hope in the future to be able to do something, but right now there's nothing available. So
Dan, here, $500 doesn't sound like a whole lot for conference money in the corporate world, but maybe in the nonprofit world. Thank you.
Don't forget to put it in next year, Janet.
maybe 1,000 next year. That would be really cool.
Don't get greedy.
No, I'm not greedy.
All right, you started that stuff there, Joe. All right, let's move along. We had motion and a second, unanimous consent. Are there any objections, any further discussion?
What is this, the Public Works again?
Senior citizen.
No, this is
Back to senior citizens. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, we're at number 8, discussion vote on DPW account 5540, Public Works. Discussion on capital, page 12. And Rick is in the house.
Yes, can you hear me all right, everybody?
Yes, so we'll ask you to start your presentation wherever you feel comfortable. And Chris Carter's here to also fill in the blanks.
Okay, would you like the presentation started off on the 5540 items, or do you want it started on the capital improvements and municipal capital?
Why don't we start off on 5540?
Okay. Basically, on 5540, there has been, the items are simply increased either based on what's been happening in the past, 2% inflation, or, per year, or contractual obligations. On the operating expenses, it's the same logic. On 5500 rubbish recycling collection, it is based on the December 2020 signed contract. Excuse me. On 5530, again, based on either what's been happening historically, contractual obligations, or 2% inflation, or items such as engineering testing permits based on changes that have been made. 5130, the same. 8840, again, contractual or updates, etc., that have been discussed and moving around, for instance, on the recreational area rentals. That's Porta Johns.
Porta Johns.
And happy to answer any questions.
I see Sherry's hand up. Anybody wants to speak, please say your name and then may I be recognized, please.
Sherry Ockery. So Rick, I had, on the rubbish and recycling, I saw the contract. And maybe this is a stupid question that I just don't know. But it references COLA reduction in the landfill, which I'm not sure how they assess a cost of living increase in the landfill operations. Maybe I just don't know how they figure that out, but it does say that unless fuel costs go up, that they would keep the contract at that, and I know fuel costs are going up. So do you think that is going to be a significant increase to the amount that they have said would be contracted, or?
That I don't know the answer to that, Sherry. We're not anticipating it to be a significant increase. The price for the diesel fuel was at a number that seemed to be comfortable, but we can't guarantee anything, because that's why those clauses are put in, because people won't bid on it if unknowns such as fuel simply predicted, 1-2 years out. It actually helps the town get more realistic bids.
And then the only other question I had was under your, did you 5530, I know you went through a few accounts, landfill operations, the on-site waste treatment compliance program, who is that money actually going to? Is it going to our local waste treatment facility, or is that something separate for DPW? I can't remember from last year.
Right.
Mr. Chair, I just interrupt. I know we're kind of lumping all this stuff together, but we, per the agenda, should be on section 5540 only at this moment.
Okay, we'll stay there.
Okay. Did I miss any questions?
I do have some questions, Mr. Chair.
Good, John.
Oh, thank you. So, Rick, clothing allowance, you've got 1840 in the contract. I know that the jacket purchase was included. Is that number not reflected in here? The winter jacket.
Let me find that item.
It's 5168 is the account number.
5168. The 5168. Okay.
I just know that that's in the contract for the guys.
Yes, that is put in there, but it's unknown. Excuse me, whether or not that will be in the contract again. That was something the town council, allocated, is my memory, on the clothing allowance. Oh,
correct.
No, the clothing allowance, yes, nope, my mistake. On that one, John, the clothing allowance is called that, but it's the contractual boots allowance, not the jackets.
Okay, so where would the jackets fall?
Thought that was under
That
uniform
was
rentals.
one time.
So-
I didn't hear that, but that was a one time. Oh, it's over the contract life.
All right, we don't rent them? I thought we rented jackets under the uniform rental contract there.
Nope.
We don't,
Right, that's a separate item, Joe. The uniform rental is a separate item.
but the jackets aren't included in that?
Correct. That was winter gear, mostly aimed towards the winter jackets. That was an add-on in the contract.
Okay, all right.
But we also have.
So should this number be updated to reflect that? Because that is a contractual obligation today, and I just don't see it reflected anywhere here in the 5540 section.
Right. No, if you 5168, it could be, but I would say 95% of the money was spent in the fiscal year that we're in, so that would not be. It might be $100 or something like that, but it wasn't worth putting in on that item because it was a one-shot deal, and except for maybe 100 or less, it's not going to be spent. People.
I know you have job recs out, so I'm assuming that there's going to be 2 more coats that need to be purchased. So, but if you're telling me it's $100 or less, thank you. That works.
No, in fairness, John, it was only for to my knowledge, the people that were in. This is my understanding. It was only in for the people on the contract at the time. So any new employees would not receive that. That's my understanding, but that was never really clarified.
Yeah,
that was simply my understanding.
Yeah, that's not my recollection from those contract negotiations, so it'd be worthwhile to go back and take a look.
Okay.
Finally found the gallery view. Oh my God, I'm so slow. Sorry, go ahead, Dave.
John, I got to correct you. 5540 does include operating expenses. It's the whole category. I got a question on the David drainage, you're asking for 750,000 in that account. Does that go into the restricted account?
Yes.
Okay. There's still 178 left over so far from last year, and you're doing a good job paving. I just want to let you know. Okay, thank you.
I was amazed we actually used guardrail money this year. Have we painted any lines this year? I know that's always in the budget, line painting.
No, due to the spending freeze, we had an opportunity to do that in the spring of last year, but it was curtailed. And this year we would like to do some, but we're not. The spending freeze really has not been lifted.
Yeah. Questions, anybody on this account?
Mr. Chair, I have one more question.
Go ahead.
And perhaps, the director and the administrator can send this out, but obviously going from, 500,000 in the prior budget on paving to 750,000 for paving is quite the jump. Is there a master paving plan that we can provide as backup to, how we arrived at that 750 number? So we're not just pulling it out of thin air.
Yes, we can, John. And basically, since no money was approved, but with the last fiscal year, but with the realization that, again, and I'll probably repeat this another number of times if required or requested, that we understand the town is under financial crisis. So our logic was to ask for the 500 and half of what was cut from last year, not to take it all in one chunk this fiscal year coming up, but to only ask for half of the money that was taken away. Because regardless of the financial crunch, and we certainly understand that, the roads still need repair and paving. And my last estimation was something along the lines of 70 years at 500,000. If you paved Road A and did Road Z, you'd get back to A in about 70 years. And roads are not built to last that long. So that was just a thought process, that not to ask for the whole thing in one shot, but to get some money so we can make up for last year and, of course, do some next fiscal year.
I don't know if y'all remember, we received these in 2019. It was the analysis. I still saved it. I didn't get one last year, but it'd be nice to know where we are and where we're going. I agree, and we need to put a lot more money in paving this year. Anybody else? Go ahead, Mike.
Is this 750K for the drainage and paving? Is that something that can come from the restricted account? Is that a potential source?
Yes. Well, my thought was that we do a resolution that if some of it, this paving gets done, if casino money does come in the 21-22, that then the council is authorized to spend that money on paving. But I'd like to see the money come in first before we start spending it. That's just my opinion.
Well, I agree with that.
Go ahead, John.
If it'll please the chair, I'd like to make a motion for account 5540 in the total sum of $1,881,489, which is the operating expenses plus the Department of Public Works.
I'll second that, but I did have my hand up for a question real quick. So, Rick, and I don't know whether, the only other one I had a question about was water. And I realized that we did the freeze stuff, but you approved at 900. Your actuals were 6,898, but it's the request. This is 1,330. So I can
answer that if you like.
Well,
that was the water main break at the building, which apparently we took responsibility for as the town. And Stonebridge Water was the beneficiary of that.
Oh, got it. Okay. Thank you.
You have a motion and second? Was there any?
That motion, I don't know if you can you hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. That total is more than 111. You have to make a motion for the 699 and then another motion for the 1181,
Not combined.
not combined.
Not combined. Then I'll amend my motion to be 699,889 for Public Works 5540.
Second.
We have a motion and second.
Can I discuss just briefly? We should have a subtotal, that the number that John came up with. We should have a line like that. For some reason, year after year, we don't total up public work. So I'm going to add the line or make sure that gets added. Okay, thank you.
So on the final doc, it'll be combined.
Right.
Who was the second on that?
I did.
Dave Perry.
Got it.
All right, I'll assume we have unanimous consent. Any further
I'll make a
discussion?
motion for unanimous consent.
Let me just,
Second.
I thought I read in Robert's rules that you don't have to make the motion, that the chair can just ask, do we have, am I wrong in that?
I don't know. That's what we've been
I think
doing.
you make the motion, but then you don't have to have a second for.
Well, to be safe, we'll just do it like we're doing, and then, just so we don't,
Okay.
all right, we had a motion and second. Assume we have unanimous consent.
Someone
motion
made a
carries.
motion for unanimous consent, but I didn't catch who it was.
I did. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Mike Janik did. I
Oh.
seconded.
Okay. I'll swap you out if you see your name in different places, just go with it, okay?
No problem. Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion for $1,181,600 for the operating expenses for 554 Public Works.
Second.
You have a motion and second. Do we have unanimous consent?
Motion
moved.
for unanimous consent.
Any further discussion? Motion carries.
Joe, I have a question. Thank you, by the way, everybody. But just for my notes, this is Rick. The 699,889. Could you just explain that one, where that number came?
So
That is,
Public Works.
let me
It's just-
explain it. Let me explain it. So Rick, I leveled your salary until I get it in front of the council.
Okay, thank you.
That's the only difference, okay?
Okay, thank you.
you're not done yet, Rick, though. We got other accounts to talk about.
Yes.
So we're moving, you're doing street lights?
The street lights is the street lights is under DPW, Joe, but DPW does not do those.
I
All
do.
right. That is the electric bill, correct?
It's two parts. It's Prism that manages them and the electric bill. It's both parts.
Okay, so this, what's in recurring financial payments, that's just a payment for the lights?
So,
Under the recurring payments that were total.
Tim has his hand up, Joe.
I was gonna say when it's the opportune time to be recognized.
I'll have to get back to you on that because I didn't realize that was I know that we redid all the lights and I know Prism still maintains them and we pay for the electric. But I don't know if there's an annual payment that goes for the actual replacement of the lights.
Yeah, well, with street light purchase and conversion, 5 of 10 payments.
Yeah, but that predates me by 5 years. So I just went by the debt schedule that she had. So I'm assuming the treasurer makes that payment.
She
I don't
does.
pay that bill, but the monthly Prism to maintain the lights, I get those bills and I get the electric bill for the lights.
Okay, all
Those both go into that 75,000.
right, that's clarified then.
Okay.
All right, that gets, it's really not this, nothing to discuss, so I'll move for a
Mr.
motion.
Chair, I'll make a motion to approve
could I ask
75,000 for
Point of order.
3380.
All right, hold up. We got a point of order.
Should we have completed item 8? There was a discussion on capital on the agenda.
Oh,
Yeah,
Moving down.
yeah,
Through
well, I had
public
put for him to discuss capital as well, because on that section, but
So this is gonna be a tricky discussion too, because currently there is no capital for DPW in the budget right now, but we do have Denise on the line, so he can help explain this as best I can. I'll go through it as well, but the town council this past week went through the municipal capital account and went through with each director and prioritized the issues. And they funded approximately $400,000 out of municipal capital. And other than some items that I was told to leave in the budget to be reviewed, I took everything else out. And I don't know if that was the appropriate method to do that, because there was some trucks for a 10-wheeler. There was a forklift. I'm trying to think what else I did take out but I'll let Denise speak on that.
plows.
No, that we merged two items. There was the plows and the, where am I? We merged the plows, the used plow and attachments along with the four-way plows, and added 5,000 and funded those so that he could get some equipment. So the other items I did take off the docket because the council didn't approve those, other than the line items I was asked to put back on for the budget committee to review. So.
Go ahead, Denise. Denise,
Hi, everyone.
good evening.
So last Saturday, we went through all the capital. As you know, I asked for all the department heads to give me their number one priority. And they did, and they met with us on Saturday. So in the capital reserve account, we have over $500,000 right now. And that's separate from the casino account. So what we decided to do was buy the DPW used plows and attachments with that money. We bought the police cruisers. And as you know, I think the police chief has talked to you about this. We are going to get a reimbursement for that because he did apply for money for that. So that money will go into the general fund, we think, or might go into this capital reserve account. We're still looking for that. So we bought the police chief the cars he wanted. And then as far as the fire department, we bought them the truck. So the only thing that we did was we paid for the first 100,000 of the 10-year loan that will be taken out on the fire truck. And then as I think you got everything, right? Chris, did you send them?
The one thing I did that I had written notes after we discussed this after your meeting. So I put the fire truck in as a 10-year request because I know you're going to bring it up with the council. And I took the 100,000, applied it to the recycling center. I know the council hasn't voted on that.
Right. So my idea was, instead of taking the fire truck out of the capital reserve, we would take the infrastructure for the recycling center, which we approved $225,000, and we would take that amount, half of that amount out of the capital reserve, and then put the fire truck back on as one of our requests for our capital. So we reduced our capital quite a bit. I think it's somewhere, and I think you have the figures in front of you. Am I correct?
Yeah, they have the 217 docket that I emailed to you.
Okay.
So now the current request under municipal capital is 167,000, and then under the capital equipment, it's
it comes out to
642,500.
correct.
right, and we're still willing to tweak that a bit. We're still going to have some discussion, but what we did do was we took like $405,000 out of the capital reserve request, which was a resolution that we could do that. And we are reducing our capital by quite a bit. So what
Yeah,
you
basically-
haven't, go
Yeah,
ahead.
basically all items that was in last year's budget that was approved anyhow, that needed to be, that we didn't fund because we didn't know how to end last year. So they took the municipal capital that was actually the same funds that were going to be spent last year that we didn't want to, didn't want to spend because we didn't know how the fiscal year was going to end. Now the municipal capital account can actually fund those items that have been pre-approved. So, and the council has that ability to do that anyhow, but that's, so there's nothing like out of the ordinary that nobody's seen before.
How much is left capital fund in this?
Over 100,000. I think, I don't have the actual figure. I don't have the actual figure, Dave, but it's a little over 100,000.
Okay,
Sure.
and we're buying all the other stuff with the rest of that money that was in there.
Correct. And we did it as fairly as we could. We asked each town department head, boards and commissions, what their priority was on all these lists. And we funded up to 405,000.
That was a good idea.
Sherry,
So
Thank you.
we did reduce our capital expense by quite a bit. And I tried to explain the other night, by doing this, we've helped the whole budget.
Right.
So whatever you need to spend next year, we've taken this out of the bulk of what you need to worry about.
Good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sherry,
Do I have any questions?
Sherry, and then John. You're muted, Sherry.
Sorry. Great job, town council, on getting some capital that we didn't get to get. And you guys did a great job.
Thank you.
John,
Yeah, the dozer undercarriage and stuff, has that been taken care of yet? Is that, I apologize, I haven't gone
It's
through your
done right
full
now.
meeting there.
I think Chris needs to answer that.
That's being done right now. We're going to spend the 70-some thousand dollars to get it done. It's a vital piece of equipment that needs to get done as quickly as we can. The company is being as diligent as they can. They are trying to ensure that we'll get it as cheaply as we can. But as they opened it up, they did find a ton of issues.
So the answer to your question, John, is we're going to take that out of this year's budget. We're going to.
Okay.
You've been on the town council before.
We'll wind
Yep.
up transferring monies
We're gonna-
on.
Trim and save from every account, and we're going to pay for that this year. I also want to bring up that on the agenda on Monday, we are going to approve for the town administrator and the town department heads to go out for bid for all this equipment this year, because plows are really needed this year. So Rick can go out and try to figure out how to do that this year. So because this money's available to us now, we're hoping to have an early start on all of this.
So follow-up question on that with the plows. Obviously our big bugaboo here in this town is that we like to buy, 2 or 3 things and then wait like 7 years until, it's past time to replace them. Has there been any discussions at the council level of actually implementing a, regular replacement schedule, much like how the police department handles their cars, to just do the same thing with the plows so that we don't ever end up in the scenario again?
So I haven't put together a capital plan yet. That's one of my pet projects that need to get done so the council can have all the information on what needs to be done. But very similar to what we used to do with the police cars years ago, the 223. We need to do something like that with some of these vehicles as well, even though we wouldn't be buying brand new vehicles. They would still be used replacement vehicles, but they would be in this century. And this stuff is it's not 10 years, it's not 7 years old, it's 40 years old. I mean, some of the stuff that's
Well, it's more than 40 years old. I almost died when I heard about some of these plows.
Yeah, I mean,
and we talked about, Rick, on whether or not we needed to get brand new plows or if we could do with these used. And it was a long drawn out discussion, but we decided this was the best way to go. And at least we'll have 2 new plows. There was a capital plan done a couple of years ago, and I have been looking at it. I don't know if Chris has looked at it yet.
I haven't had enough.
Yeah, but there was some plows in there as far as what the capital,
John was actually nice enough to give me some binder with all these a capital request from years ago that need to
yeah,
get
and we
put
do
up
have a
online.
5-year plan that Jan did last year, if you remember, John. And it does have plows in there. We thought that this was the best way to get the best bang for our buck as far as the plows. And Rick agreed with us to do it this way. And I hope you all approve of what we did with the capital reserve account. We thought it would be the best way for the taxpayers. And we don't have to tax for some of these capital expenses because we already have.
Question. Sherry, go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say, if it's okay, when you're done, then we just we need a motion. We might as well make a motion to move agenda number 18 up to position 9 so we can cut that out.
Okay, question. On the bulldozer, are we repairing the 2000 bulldozer or the 2007?
It's the 2000, Joe, the 963C. It's the
Yeah.
2000.
All right. We had that slotted for replacement in 6.5 years. That was in 2019.
Mhm.
I have that. So the other one, the high track, is that one in need repairs too?
Yes.
The 2007?
Yes, both the 2007 963D is also in need of some repairs, but we have to wait till the 63C comes back so we can take it back to the shop. And after we do some minor repairs on it ourselves, then we're going to have Milton Cat take a look at it and see what they estimate the repairs to cost. But we can't do that until we get it back to the shop.
Do you know, just for future reference, if you would, once we change the tracks on this one that we're doing now, note the hours, maybe just write it right on the machine or something so that when it wears out again, we can see how many hours we're getting out of these machines. I know we only got a couple of years left at the landfill. And I know I had made some suggestions to maybe look at some solid fill loader tires. I actually went online and looked them up, and I found a set. They're not the steel wheels with the pads. They're actual rubber tires, and they're perforated, so you can drive them over the road. You don't get banged to death. In fact, they actually ride better than the pneumatic tires. So I just hope you'll look into that, because just about every landfill around here now has changed over to loaders. Some of them use those big steel spike tires. But, I mean, as a backup, instead of spending a lot, and I actually wish the newer dozer was the one that was being repaired so we could retire the older one, but we're beyond that now. The only other thing I wanted to ask was about the fire department's, was it the Lucas chest compression? Did that get purchased this year?
No, Joe, if you remember, nothing got purchased this year for capital. So
Well, I mean, are you going to purchase it this year, or should that still?
Yes, it's part of our capital. It's part of the 400,000. So we're going to purchase one. We're going to purchase one and hopefully purchase one next year. Or like I said, if we're able to get some money put together this year, we might pick up to buy.
All right, because I just noticed that was kind of a hot ticket item.
Denise, I just want to be clear. That Lucas test impressions, they're being purchased now, correct?
Yes, one of them is.
One of them is $30,000.
It's
15,000.
30,000 is for 2, Dave. So it's 15.
Okay, so we could put another. If we have money, we could put one more back in the
you could
budget.
if you wanted to. Like I said, I did priority because I thought that was the most important thing. So everybody got a little piece of the pot, to tell you the truth.
Did a good job.
By the way, I'm looking at the 5-year capital that Jan put together last year, and this year we were supposed to buy 2 4-way plows. So we are
Yeah.
kind of buying, we are
Okay.
on top of that.
All right.
Well, Chris, you
I'd like
you had
to,
talked about maybe buying smaller trucks for plowing. Was that still what you were discussing with them about using, rather than buying the large trucks, buying like F-450s?
So he still
Which would
needs
be-
some of the bigger trucks to get sanding all the way down to the other end of town. Those are the ones he's having, I'll let Rick speak to this, but it's the bigger issues of the long hauls, that those bigger trucks, the older trucks that we've swapped out like 5 times, those are the ones that are
Yeah.
failing. So,
You know, I
but
had
get it.
suggested years ago that they put a load of sand and put the backhoe out at the landfill so they don't have to drive all the way back to DPW. In other words, you have sand out at the landfill that can go into the sander trucks to cut down on cross traffic from the south end back all the way to, it's something to look at. I mean,
Yep.
if it would help, you know, less truck driving across town to go get sand back at the yard. Just for the thought. All right, I'm done. Anybody else?
No, but we have a motion on the floor and no second. And we then also need a motion to move Denise from 18 up to 9.
second the motion.
Okay, for the 75,000 for 3380.
Right, and then I'll make another motion to move item number 18 to the next agenda item.
Thank you. Somebody second that?
I'll second that.
Okay, George Schramm.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further discussion? We have unanimous consent. I'll say the motion carries.
You need a second unanimous consent? That was
I
for
thought we just voted
75,000.
on both at the same time. We didn't?
Yep, that's fine.
Move number 18 forward.
Yep.
Denise, I think you already covered it, but if you have any more.
So do you guys, so did you get the update on capital so far?
Yes,
So if you see the municipal capital restricted, our number is 167,304. You're all following me?
yep.
And the next one,
185.
yeah. So that is our capital this year, not putting reoccurring major time finance payments. The only thing that might add to this, if we are doing the library on Saturday, and they did ask for a capital expense, and we haven't reviewed that yet.
I did put that in though, because it was
Oh,
still
you did?
open.
Okay.
That's
15,000.
part of
This. Okay, so library was put in.
15,000.
Yeah.
Denise.
Yeah, but you have to keep in mind that was not approved yet.
Okay,
I don't foresee that will be not approved, but it
None
has
of those
not
items were,
approved.
none of those items were approved yet, right?
No,
Whether
we
it was the
approved,
top, the 167.
the 167 has been approved.
Right, it's the bottom ones that didn't get approved.
The
They
bottom
were-
ones did get approved. The only ones that I can see didn't get approved was the library and the senior center. But as far
And again,
as
we had,
W building repairs, we approved. Town hall renovations, we approved. Recycling,
Okay,
we
that's right.
approved.
That's
So-
right, you're right.
Yeah, so the only, we are meeting with the senior center on Saturday, and we are meeting with the library on Saturday. I'm hoping to get most of this done by next week. And of course, we, will go back to whatever the council wants to, but I'm trying to get every item done by next week.
on the senior center, when we did the windows there, you'll notice that the shingles that are around, they were just temporarily put in there because we had assumed that within the next several years, we would finish the siding. So I would just ask that perhaps somebody go take a look at the senior center to make sure that those shingles are still attached if they haven't already. Because they're basically where they're cut in, they're glued into place. It was only a temporary patch when we put the windows in just to fill in around the windows because the windows were a little smaller than the originals. So I'm hoping water's not getting into the walls over there.
Joe,
So I'll just ask.
I will ask that question. If you see that they've asked for $10,000, I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure what that is about, but I will ask that question on Saturday.
Yeah, well, she had asked to, she was here before and they wanted to finish the vinyl. She had got an estimate to finish the vinyl. And if the temporary repair is still holding, maybe we can put it off till next year, but that's why I'd like somebody from Public Works to take a look and give us some feedback on that too, and give y'all some feedback on it, particularly where the old and the new shingles meet. Because again, they're basically just glued together. So,
We can
all
have,
right.
we can have Rick. Rick, are you still on?
Yes, yes, I'm happy to take a look at that.
Thank you. And get back to us on Saturday to see if we need to add more to that line item.
Yes. Okay, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Water service hydrants.
Where are we?
Chair.
We're on number 10.
Page 12 hydrants. 3420.
I don't think we did streetlights, did we? We didn't vote on streetlights.
Yeah, we did.
Did.
I'll make
We
a
did.
motion to approve 3420 for $1,600.
Second.
We did
For
street
hydrants.
lights.
We
I'm
did
sorry.
streetlight.
Sherry, you have it recorded?
Yes, I have it recorded.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, then we're on hydrant service, page 12. Is anybody not
Motion
familiar
by-
what the hydrant service is for? Everybody understand what this is for?
Be possible-
Straightforward.
The street lighting, could I ask a question or is that not appropriate here?
We're in discussion.
No, for
Well, we're
street.
beyond streetlights, but
Oh, street
you
lighting.
can
Oh,
ask
we're
if-
on
you
hydrant.
can ask if
services.
you want to, Dan. It was on the agenda. So,
Go ahead.
good, Dan.
If the DPW people are here and all the rest, how do we, and I have a personal interest in this because the street light across from our driveway disappeared a few years ago. So if I have to recuse myself or anything like that, I'd be happy to do so. But how do we decide which lights come online and which ones come offline? Is there a plan or
Yes, there is. The council like 4 years ago went through this whole plan, and basically this company Prism was contracted. They went through, they assessed all the lights within the town. Some were removed, some were replaced with LEDs, and it's just following that protocol.
Okay. And the other question I had is of course, being interested in this, I drove around town and it amazed me that on Bulgamarsh, for instance, or Boogermarsh, how few streetlights there are and how far apart they are. I spent 25 or 30 years in Ipswich on the North Shore, and one of the firefighters said, the utility poles are 90 feet apart, and that's how you can. We have a different protocol here, I presume, and that's just the way it is.
Staying away from the light pollution.
Okay, that's fine too. Yeah,
A
well,
lot of
it's
people
funny.
that-
I remember
Turn the
when we
one
first
off.
moved in here, I could see Orion beautifully, and then they lit the light up the hill, and now it's off again, which is fine with me. But thank you.
Motion for unanimous
right.
consent on number 10.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Is there any further discussion?
No, that
Motion
was the
carries.
motion for unanimous consent. Yeah.
Okay, discussion and vote on
5,500.
account 500.
Could I ask one question about hydrant service? Dan, Darren, could I ask a question about hydrant services, or we passed it?
No, go ahead.
I'm green. I've been here for 5 years. Is it true that there's no hydrants south of Bulgamarsh going?
That's correct.
Okay.
Correct.
What do they do in a case of a fire?
Make a
truck.
Tank truck.
They have tank trucks.
And
They
we call
have,
other- call other towns with tank trucks like Little Compton.
there-
Westport.
There are areas there are areas where they have standpipes that come out of ponds that they can draft from.
Yeah.
So they do use a number of different tank trucks from different areas, whether
I
it's
see.
Westport.
Provided that the pond level's high enough.
And
Okay.
Dan, we're doing now, I just got off the planning board. If you build a new complex and have 2 houses, you have to put a citron in.
I
And
see.
that's a big tank in the ground.
Yep.
That they draw from.
Okay, and it collects rainwater or something?
No, you fill it up.
You fill it up, okay. One last question, and I know this is not our issue because they're separate water authorities down here, but I understand south of Bulgar Marsh, everybody's on wells, and that's fine. And there's no aquifers there, so there's just rubble, and they do the best they can with the wells. But I heard from someone who's a friend of my wife's that the earthquake that we had, minor one not so long ago, seems to have moved things a little bit such that water services aren't what they used to be. And I wondered if anybody had that experience. And thank you.
So
I'm on the well. I'm good.
I'm not so sure that that's what the issue of water issues are. I think it was more that we had a very, very dry summer.
Yeah.
Which did impact water more than I think the earthquake did. But so it has been noted in this town to have some dry walls when we have really parched summers.
Okay, thank you.
The biggest issue I have is it turns all my whites beige. It's okay. Now that we aired our dirty laundry, let's.
By the way, when I'm doing this is sign language for applause, by the way, for what that's worth.
Now you got me lost. Did we vote on the account 5500?
Not yet.
No,
No,
we're
not
on now.
yet. I'd
Okay.
like to make a motion that we approve account 5500. This is Sherry Ockery, by the way, for $755,000.
For discussion.
Do we have unanimous consent?
Discussion, please.
Is that the rubbish guarantee, satisfaction guarantee to double your trash back? Sorry.
Rick,
Yes.
Sherry's got a question, Joe.
I got a
Yes,
question.
Dave was asking a question.
Rick, are we still with the same company?
Yes.
Yes, we are. But I do have a question, and maybe I missed something. Did you say 755?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not complaining, but where'd that number?
It came from me because it's the second year of the contract that we have.
Okay, thank you.
It did escalate from one year to the next. Remember, it went from 723 to 38 to 755.
Chris, is
Okay,
that a
thank
3-year contract
It's a 2-year extension.
or 2-year?
So it'll be out to bid for the next fiscal.
Correct.
All right, are we ready?
Yep.
Okay, discussion and vote on account 5530, landfill operations, page 13.
Joe, we gotta take a vote on the last one.
The water.
No, the rubbish.
We just need unanimous consent.
Okay, I'm sorry. Did we have unanimous consent?
Yes.
Further discussion? Motion carries. I had already checked it off, so. All right, we're on 12, correct? Discussion and vote on account 5530, landfill operation, page 13.
Did you want any questions answered on that?
Are there any questions from members?
Mr. Chair.
Forward, I guess. Yes, John.
I'd like to make a motion to approve 5530 for $290,964.
Second.
So, the only thing that went down was the study plan. We're not funding that. Do the same. Other than that,
I have a question though. The
go
bulldozer
ahead.
is of 40,000. Are we going to try to do that this year?
That would be for the 963D 2007. I'm not
Okay.
That's the high
confident
one.
we're going to be able to get that fixed this fiscal year.
So,
Should
and I
that
do
be a
know,
cap-
Sherry,
Should that be a capital?
it's always been in these
Thank-
accounts.
Okay.
I think, well, other things break besides the track, and that's the problem. I mean, they're older. I'm not gonna say we'll put it in there. If we don't spend it, we don't spend it, but I mean, we always got that thing, 2 dozers, and they're both got 1 million miles on them, so
Okay.
I'm not gonna complain about having money in there if something breaks.
We're
So
gonna need
I
it.
do know earlier Sherry had a question on the on-site wastewater as to where that money went. And it
Yep.
does go to the Tiverton wastewater, which is a quasi-public agency. It's not a town entity, but
Yep.
they do our on-site wastewater management for the town. So
That's
anything
why
that
I
has to
was
do with
asking. Yep, because
Yeah. Anything that
I
deals-
watched the wastewater thing you guys did. I just
Okay.
wanted to know if they were the ones that were actually getting that money, because
they do get that money.
Okay. And so I don't know, so they're not a town entity, but did you also then like tell them to save money? Cause they only spent 12,892. That's what their actuals were in 2019, 2020.
So, yeah.
I can
pretty
comment.
much told them that. I wasn't gonna give any more.
I see Dan and Dave. Hang on. And John.
So I don't know if I answered your question, Sherry. We did, they recognized that when we were finishing up last year for the last 4 months, that we curtailed all expenditures and that they were, we didn't provide any additional funding, but also with COVID, with their restrictions, they couldn't go out and do inspections. There are a lot of things that prohibit them from doing the things that they would have done anyhow. So they weren't even able to do the things to bill us for. So it was a kind of a mutual agreement.
So that's great. You saved that they have some extra money left in those accounts then.
No, I scooped that money, went to the general fund.
Oh, okay.
That didn't go to them.
Okay, I think Dan was up, and then Dave.
I'm actually good, sorry.
Hey, Dave.
Rick, I got a question for you. In account 7645, the bulldozer here, there's still 36,586. Can we use that to get that dozer fixed within this?
So
And if
Dave,
we do that,
that 36,000 is available right now is half of what we need to do for the primary bulldozer that's at CAT right now being worked on.
okay.
The bill for it's going to be $70-some thousand. We need to find
Okay.
another 5,000.
Thank you.
And one minor clarification. That's not the primary, but that's the secondary dozer. But just a couple of things to keep in mind, and thank you all for your attention to these items, and that is the fact that the dozer, 2000 dozer, back in 2003 or 2004, we found this record. It had something like $23,000 of repairs done in it, and that was only a 3-year-old dozer back in 2003. That would be a lot more money now. And also, when the town was planning on closing the landfill, and I think Joe might have alluded to this way back when, they stopped replacing the dozers. And then back in 2015, 2016, it was expected the landfill would close in 2020. So since then, there's no new dozer even been on the docket. So what happens is the old equipment just keeps getting older, and it just costs more to repair because more things break down.
Well, just also, I'm hoping that we're going to be able to do some of that, the new center, the collection center. I hope we're going to be able to do some of that work in-house, and they're going to need a dozer for most of that work and be pushing a lot of stone up to do it. So I guess we're going to need the dozers into the future. Once I think the landfill's closed. I think we could get away with just using a loader. In fact, it'd be easier at the reclamation, at the recycle center to use that than you run a track dozer around and mess up all the gravel and stuff. So, but we got to get there. And it's a tool that the town still will be using even beyond if we're doing drainage or whatever, and we need a, strip or whatever. Though we also need to get a trailer to move it around. So that's another problem. All right. Is there anybody
And
else?
also, if I may,
John, I'm
Joe,
sorry. I spoke over. Go ahead, Rick, first.
Yep. And I think Joe had a lot to do with this, the impetus to extend the landfill life by hopefully a couple of years, and that saves the
Freedom
town.
night.
I'm sorry. But that saves the town along the lines of $300,000 to $400,000 per year in trucking and tipping costs. So,
yeah.
But it comes with a price that you have to have some money to run the current landfill, but the savings are quite large.
Yeah, those expenses are coming though. We need to prepare for that.
Yep.
Sure. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
Sure. So back to OWTS for a second. Mr. Cotta, is 20,000 going to be acceptable for us to keep the C-SLIP program intact?
So the C-SLIP program was just renewed. We just borrowed another $900,000. And as we went through that process, we actually found that there was another $300,000 that had never been used. So there's 1.2 million available. I don't know if this is enough money, the DEM could actually revoke, anything that we have going on because of what we are not really doing with compliance. That's a slippery slope. And that's an issue that's been being wrestled with the council, and I don't think that discussion has been fully resolved yet. I do know that the wastewater people would like more money to do this, but
about 60 grand.
Yeah, well, they were looking for like 100, but it's I think there's a happy medium somewhere in the middle of that. So I think this is a good placeholder at the moment until we finish those discussions and resolutions with the town council.
Thank you.
I'd really like, it was mentioned that some of it is state law, but we never get to see the state law. I'd really like to see, or at least give reference to the statute numbers so we can look them up, because I always hear state law, but I never actually get the actual, verbiage. So just maybe a request in the future, maybe you can just find the statute number and I can look it up myself.
We'll get to the
If
statutes.
it's DEM regulation, that's, it's hard to find too, but that's usually not statute. That's just regulations written by DEM. I mean, it's.
So in order to keep and reapply for the C-SLIP program, which is a very good program, by the way, it's we've never had a default on it, and it does help a lot of people get their septic systems fixed and brought up to speed. So especially the cesspools, and they've been working very, very diligently around the Stafford reservoir to try to get some
That's
of
the
those
low
fixed.
interest loans, correct?
Yep, it's extremely low. I think it's like 1% or 0.5%, and it can borrow up to 25 grand for, I think it's 10 years. So it's not a bad deal if you need to replace your septic system.
Half a point or something.
So
Anybody else?
I'm all set,
Motion
I
for
guess.
unanimous consent. We have a motion on the floor already.
Second.
We had a motion and second. Is there any further discussion? Okay, motion carries. Discussion and vote on account 5130, Building Maintenance Division.
I'll
Page
make a
13.
motion. I'll make a motion to move 120, 102.
Second.
Not much there.
No, we had a motion and second. Do we have unanimous consent?
I'll make the motion for unanimous consent.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? Motion carries. It's Manny and Phil. Great job, guys. All right. Moving along. Discussion,
8840,
vote on account. I'm sorry,
8840.
parks, maintenance, and mowing.
Make a motion to move 57.
Second. 57,930.
Motion is second.
Yes.
Any discussion?
The only, I
We have
had a
unanimous
question.
consent. Oops, Sherry has a question.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, I know we probably, it's something we took out, but the recreation area rentals, what are we renting?
Those are porta potties.
Okay, well, we definitely need those.
So that's Town Farm. Is it also it's,
Town farm, it's Fogland.
Go ahead. What's up?
Cassett.
Rick, is
it's
there any
all the
others?
places that we had to close the bathrooms,
Right.
or the
And-
outhouses, I guess they were back in the day.
Yes, it's also projected if it's desired, besides Pecasset, Fogland, Town Farm, and Boogamosh, that if it came up because of an issue, Bayview would also be able to have, porta potties for, the summer, spring season, autumn there.
But it was also
In
Fogland,
addition-
right?
Yeah, in addition to Boogamosh, Town Farm, Fogland, and Pecasset.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
Motion.
We had a motion and second.
Yep, we do. We just need unanimous consent.
Okay.
Second.
Further discussion? Motion carries. Discussion and vote on account 8790 beaches, page
On
16.
page 16,
The beaches.
I'll make a motion to approve 48-3.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. Is there any discussion? Do we have unanimous consent? No further discussion? I'll say the motion carries. Okay. Count number 8830, summer recreation, page 16.
The only question is this really going to happen with COVID?
I believe this year it will happen. Hopefully if they get the vaccinations the way that they want. So, we are
Online
open.
registration.
I'll
Yep.
make a motion to approve 20,000 for account 8830.
I'll second.
That was
hope that-
20, that was 20, Dave?
23,000.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay.
It
I
sounded
heard
like you
22.
lowered it. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Any more discussion? You have unanimous consent? No further discussion. The motion carries. Okay, discussion and vote on event
Extra.
formerly Winter Rec.
Motion to move 1,500.
Second.
Doesn't have an account number.
So they're
6690.
breaking it out. Used
It
to
was
be in
taken out.
winter recreation.
Yeah.
6690, isn't it?
I
Count number
don't know.
is right on the
I
side.
don't-
6690.
Okay, yep, six million. $1,500.
$1,500.
We had a motion, we had a second.
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion? We have unanimous consent. I'll say the motion carries. Town council president has gave us her update. If she didn't have any further information, then are you all set, Denise? Is there anything else you need to tell us?
We moved. I think we moved that one up, so I think we're good.
I know. I just wanted to ask if she had anything further before we move to the town administrator.
Joe, I'm sorry. Did you have a question? I had to leave for a minute.
We just wonder if you had it. We're just about to adjournment. We were wondering if you had anything else for us.
No, unless you have questions for us, but like I told you, Saturday, we're gonna do another budget session. On Monday, we're gonna do another budget session, and hopefully we'll be able to wrap this up and give you our final budget.
That'd be great. Are there any questions? We'll say thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. 19 will be town administrator. Suggestions.
I'm not sure what you haven't done yet.
I'll send you a email, Chris, with the net. I mean, I've been trying to keep up ahead of with what we haven't done, but here, hold on one second. See.
I seem to remember we were waiting on an answer for an account, but I don't remember which account.
We were waiting on the.
That was a collector.
The tax collector salary, which I believe the town council did discuss that, and
right, that has been done.
And then we have a couple of other ones, but I think we're doing pretty good, and I have a pretty set agenda that I can send you, Chris, to make sure it looks okay.
That's fine. Okay. If you send me what you got, and I'll reply back, because I don't think there's much left to do.
There's not.
Okay.
I mean, library. I think I have
right.
The library. The schools are March 4th.
I don't have to go to that, right?
Yeah, no, you don't have to go to that. You actually get the night off. And then
go ahead.
No, I think, and then I have the library. I don't have many other great, big things. So.
Okay.
Well,
I actually think you're on next week.
If there are members of the budget committee that want to go back and look at accounts, sections, get a hold of Sherry. If there's something you'd like to go back and review, you picked up new information or whatever, we can, get a hold of Sherry before the agenda is posted on Monday or Tuesday? When do you post usually?
I usually like to post it on Monday just to make sure that if any changes or emergencies come up, I can.
Yeah, so if anybody has any requests for the agenda, please contact her maybe before the end of the weekend.
So okay. Is there a time when you actually start to look at revenues? And it's been a while since I've done this. I know we did it totally out of sequence last year because of the state legislature, which I'm almost anticipating is going to happen again this year. I don't think we're going to get our state aid numbers, but do you, like as far as all the other revenues, non-taxable revenues, does the treasurer and myself provide those to you, like at some meeting, and then the tax assessor come in with like the valuation of the town and those kind of things? Those
generally that's towards the end, a little bit, not totally at the end, but like when we can get this, for instance, the budget. Obviously, we usually have to wait for the governor to announce our budget. So, I'm not sure the date she does that.
I'm just worried we're going to wind up pushed against the wall again this year, like we were last year. So
I think we did a pretty good job predicting revenue last year. Can we say goodbye to Rick? He's all set. We'll say goodbye to Rick.
Yep. Okay. Thank you all. I appreciate all your.
You were there. Sorry, Rick.
Thank you, Rick.
Good night.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
So moved, but police department this week at 10 o'clock on.
You broke up, Dave.
I'm sorry.
I think he was saying police department.
Police department visit 10 o'clock.
Yeah, meet in the parking lot out front, and I am going to email everybody a sheet that the chief sent out. You if you don't have a printer and you don't want to, it's just a COVID checklist, and then we'll meet in the lobby. He'll take everybody's temperature, and then if you have a printer and want to print out the sheet, you can. If you don't, he'll give you one, just a COVID checklist. And yes, we'll be there.
So you can have coffee and donuts?
Bring a mask. They don't do donuts anymore, Dave.
He
They'll do coffee
actually
donuts?
he normally does, but I don't know with COVID if he'll let us take off our masks and eat donuts, but he usually does.
Never thought I'd be going to a police station wearing a mask. All right.
Just don't let them show you the cells. They lock it behind you.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
I never thought I'd be going to a bank wearing a mask and asking for money either. So,
Okay.
Okay.
Is there anything else, or are we ready to adjourn?
Ready to adjourn?
We had a motion and a second.
Yep.
Unanimous
Motion made by me,
consent.
seconded by Dave.
Yep.
All right,